So this is part 3 of my series, my little small mini-series of Jedediah and Katie Duggar on Ginger and Jeremy Volo's podcast. Obviously, Jedediah and Ginger are siblings. And it's the reason I wanted to do this. I'm giving a little intro because not everybody sees every single part, is because we never got Jed and Katie's story on Counting On because it was canceled due to Josh going to jail. So the last part they were talking about how they met and how they were together. They started talking, were together for 8 months, got engaged, and married 6 weeks later. 6 weeks! They got married Easter weekend of 2021, and then Josh was arrested at the end of April of 2021. So now they're going to talk a little bit about their wedding, and I thought that this was very interesting. Very interesting.
You know, they're like, sure, what weekend? You're like, Easter.
Yeah.
They're going, hey,
it wasn't as much
that's a big holiday for us.
Your wedding was a smaller one.
It was.
Which was so nice.
It was smaller, and then the other thing is we didn't film it, which we got. It was a lot of heat, not from my parents or anything, but from the film crew.
It was just different. It was the first time.
They're like, you guys need to film this, and we're like, well, we don't want to film it, and so we kind of stuck to our guns. We just didn't really feel like we wanted it to be more intimate, just have it, So we kept it at that. Chose a smaller venue. We had to shrink the size down. I say only 350. Yeah. That's not very much for a Duggar wedding. Yours was probably
That's 3 families.
Mine was 1,200.
1,200, right?
1,200 versus 350.
Yeah, I would have made it a little smaller.
Yeah,
but I liked that.
Great. We loved it, of course. It was perfect for us. And I feel I don't know what number wedding this was in the family, but there were so many connections already.
Yes.
That were oh, there's already a caterer.
Yeah.
There's already someone that knows how.
So the last clip that I pulled that I want to talk about is whether or not Katie would have been on the show, or Jed and Katie's love story would have been on the show if they would have aired another season. In my opinion, if they decided to bring back a show, strictly the kids, again, Counting On one more time or something, no Jim Bob and Michelle being the forefront like they were towards the end of the series, I'd watch it. I'd cover the fuck out of that. But I don't think a lot of those kids would do a show again. And I don't blame them, because they've been on this show they were on that show, or the several versions of that show, for a hot minute, over 10 years. So, I don't blame them if they don't. But if they did, I would cover it. I sure would.
Right? So,
no way.
We've always asked, it's always been the brother-in-laws, Ben or Austin, hey, what was it coming into the Duggar world, the filming, all that? How was it for you as the first sister-in-law that we're talking to? What was it like coming into his world? Because we were still filming at the time, right?
Yeah, so they phased.
It was the tail end, so I was actually never filmed. I was never on the show.
Really?
It was. And they also phased, so when we started talking, I was running for state rep.
Yes.
And because it's political, you have to give equal air time, right?
Yeah.
And so technically they weren't allowed to film me in the show at all. I had to be step aside for that whole year and a half. And so that was one reason why.
The show also ended right when we got married.
Right.
So I never experienced any of that part. But
So Katie was never filmed, and because Jed was running for state rep at the time, he was not being filmed either. So we would have never really gotten a Katie and Jed love story to begin with. I'm sure they would have alluded to it after the state, So that was my ADHD. The way that the Duggars were the Counting On one is one season was someone getting married, and then there was alluding to a courtship, and then the next season was the courtship into engagement with another sibling getting married. It was kind of just back to back to back. So they probably, if Justin and Claire would have been filmed, which I wonder if they were, and Jed and Katie, they probably would have alluded to Jed and Katie and then continued the cycle, right? But those were all the key points that I thought were interesting. Y'all always ask for Duggar content, so this is my Duggar content. And I'm very much so waiting for Ginger and Jeremy's podcast with Lydia from Welcome to Plathville, because I am interested in what that's going to be about.